So I'm just going to summarize the Democratic Party. I'll identify the major groups of people involved and the policies that entice these people. So first you have poor people. Poor people tend to be criminals. They tend to be involved in criminal organizations. And the Democrats enable that kind of behavior. They are soft on crime. It's common that they try to do away with the death penalty. They weaken the police force. Okay, they cut the funding. They make false accusations towards the law enforcement. Okay, they promote this culture of, gaslighting and making false accusations towards the enforcers, trying to get lawsuits and get people fired and get people prosecuted. They pass laws making things that were criminal not criminal anymore. For example, theft. Okay, theft to a certain monetary value is not illegal. Okay, it's not like, so, prostitution has been legalized in a democratic state. So they're legalizing crimes. They take away people's guns, allowing criminals to intimidate people and, take advantage of people. The criminals attain their weapons illegally, anyways. Like, that's something they already do. And the Democrats make it easier for that to happen, with a weaker law enforcement and lesser punishments and stuff like that. The Democrats, they don't deal with repeat offenders as they should. They're lenient on them. They have catch and release policies. Okay, so Democrats are pandering to criminals, and poor people tend to be criminals. So then you have minorities. Okay, minorities also tend to be criminals, tend to be involved in criminal organizations. Okay. So yeah, these minorities are disproportionately involved in criminal organizations. They're also disproportionately racist. The minorities are mostly Hispanic and black. So when it comes to hate crimes, blacks commit the highest rate of hate crimes in the United States, and Hispanics are, I believe, second. Comparing the number of hate crimes to their populations. So the minorities are typically involved in racist criminal organizations. If you notice, these gangs usually consist of a single ethnicity, a single race. They have racist ideologies and they're violent. Okay, they're involved in crime. I've already described how the Democratic Party enables crime. So, criminal minorities lean Democrat, and also DEI policies, provide racist profits and opportunities to these minorities. Women, 80% of prostitution cases are, the prostitute is a woman. So, and then when you also factor in the minorities involved, these minorities engage in prostitution more than the whites. And in these minority populations, they have large percentages of their women voting Democrat. So prostitution is a crime, and it thrives on other crimes such as violence. Okay, I'm sure you've heard of prostitutes having pimps. Okay, violent people to intimidate the community. And the prostitutes are, they usually coerce people into purchasing the prostitution. So they threaten people, and they coerce them into purchasing them as a prostitute. So, prostitution comes in many forms. Okay, they could prostitute themselves out for marriage. Okay, they can prostitute themselves out to be someone's girlfriend. They could prostitute themselves out for cash, for resources, for a job. There are many ways, for favors. There are many ways for prostitution to occur. So the prostitutes vote Democrat because, the enabling of crime, the enabling of the violent crime that the prostitutes thrive on, their intimidation tactics, so they could, make demands of people. And abortion, the prostitutes, they have all this irresponsible intercourse, and they utilize abortion. And then birth control. So the prostitutes utilize birth control as well. And also the sexist DEI policies, entice a lot of women to vote Democrat. So the female population voting Democrat, it's the enabling of crime, the enabling of prostitution. Prostitution was legalized in the state of Maine, a Democrat state. The prostitutes don't face punishment for selling themselves. It was brought up in California to be legalized and stuff, and so that stuff's obvious. Now, promiscuous prostitute type women, they tend to favor abortion and birth control and the enabling of crime and stuff. So then you have terrorists. It's obvious what's going on with the Palestine conflict. The Democrats are promoting terrorism. They're manipulating people about what's going on. When it comes to terrorist attacks in the United States, jihadists have the highest rate of committing terrorist attacks. So the Muslims, they vote Democrat. All right. It's because of the enabling of crime. It's because of the manipulative tactics of the Democrats to enable terrorists to manipulate people as to what's actually going on. They manipulate people about what Islam is. All right, so, Democrats are sellouts. They team up with, all kinds of criminals. So the terrorists vote Democrat. The illegal immigrants vote Democrat. They're involved in cartels and stuff a lot of the time, and the Democrats' weak border policies allow for illegal immigrants to come in and and stay here and engage in their crimes. And it's just so obvious what's going on here, what this party's about. The more outrageously contradictory and nonsensical religions like Catholicism and stuff like that, they vote Democrat. People that profit off of nonsensical ideologies, the manipulators and stuff like that, the false accusers, just people that don't have integrity, vote Democrat. The sexually perverted people, that make accusations towards people for mistreating them and stuff when they're really just a bunch of lunatics. They vote Democrat. That's a simple summary of the Democratic Party, just a bunch of savages and confused people.